Welcome back to the Marlins here on OOTP 26th. As you can see, we are here 2 series past the All-Star break, sweeping the San Francisco Giants and the Milwaukee Brewers. And now before we head into the trade deadline, we've got a series at Cleveland. For whatever reason this year, the draft was, I believe, was on the 11th on this off day, and it wasn't during the All-Star break. I don't know why that is. I did not change anything with when the draft generates, but it just did that this year. So we actually had a little bit of time after the draft to sim some games to get up to the trade deadline period, as we are cooking. Looking pretty damn good. Currently sitting at 65 and 38, 8.5 games in front of the Philadelphia Phillies, 9.5 in front of the Mets, 10 in front of the Braves. All of them look like quality teams, but not quite as quality as us. We did have a bit of drama recently as Alex Garcia, the 20-year-old Panamanian, coming up straight from Double-A, and immediately as a spark plug personality class, calling out George Mikov, who isn't running out ground balls in close games, apparently. And Mikov is none too pleased with recent comments. He needs to mind his own business, so Mikov and Garcia are feuding, which is interesting considering Mikov is a short-side platoon player, and Garcia looks like he could be a generational franchise bat for us. Now, as far as what we could possibly add to this team here at the deadline, well, first let's look at the bats here. As far as the bats go, I don't really think we have, like, an obvious opening. Like, we have some guys who have not performed up to snuff this season, but, like, I'm not going to trade for a third baseman and push Wilfredo Lara out of the lineup. That's not happening. You know, we're not going to trade for an infielder. We've got Camilo Diaz backing him up. We got like guys like Danny Munson and whatnot that we like in AAA. So I'm not going to do that. We're fine with this Mikov Amichai platoon at first base right now. It's Amichai against right-handers and then Mikov against left-handers with Garcia ahead and Garza in the outfield. Garza, had that slow start to the season. He has been much better as of late here in June and July. Or I guess he had that. It was the bad May. He was really good in April, bad May, and then he's been really, really good overall in June and July. So obviously not going to do anything with the outfield. Maybe we could pick up like a fourth outfielder, but then like who we would send somebody down. I guess that would be like Bird or something, but like I'm fine with what we have right now in the outfield, and I just don't think there's really any obvious openings to add a bat to this team right now. Maybe like a backup catcher, or maybe Grindlinger just gets waived and DFA'd, and we bring up that Murrieta guy, but not like he's been doing anything. Brady Murrieta, who we signed in the offseason this past offseason. And he has been terrible in AAA offensively, but we did not sign him for his bat. We signed him for his glove. So maybe we just do that because this guy, we're paying him $2.8 million anyways, and Grindlinger has just been that terrible. And it's not like, or maybe we can find a catcher that we could pick up at the block here. That could be interesting too. Maybe. But then on the pitching side of things, I think maybe we acquire, like, a reliever, like a strong reliever on an expiring contract, maybe a starter, but also at the same time, I don't think we want to acquire a starter, even with, like, we have our 4 set. Like, if these guys are all healthy, Patino, Hernandez, Waldrop, Hernandez are our 4 starters in the playoffs. We've recently called up Rico Vergan. He is our 5th starter at the moment. Called him up from AAA. He was doing well in AAA and AA this season and really good in AA last year. So we rewarded him with a call-up, and he has 1 start to his name so far. He was, got a bit lucky, but gets the... Did he get the win? No, it was a notice. He went 4 1/3. Of course he didn't get the win. But, 2 ERA, whatever. 1 start. As we are, I think I'd rather just have like somebody in our organization be in that 5th starter spot, like Vergan, like somebody like Elizalde, somebody like that, rather than like picking up a veteran starter. Maybe we could do a veteran starter, and as like insurance if somebody gets hurt. We'll have to see what's out there available, but I think like bullpen arm and maybe a catcher is what we're really looking for. And as far as the relievers on the market here, it's like Yohan Duran, who is an expiring contract on a really, really big amount of money. Are the Dodgers not good this year? They're 9-17 in one-run games. I mean, they should be in first place if you go by run differential here. They're not going to be trading Duran. No, that's not something we're looking to do here. Luke Little on an expiring contract. We just looked at the West. That was the Rockies were like in first place, right? No, they're also not going to, maybe they trade Luke Little to somebody else, but we're not going to trade for Luke Little. This guy is hurt. Veteran Brusdar Gratterall is on the trade block, and then it's like a bunch of 45 guys who like really don't intrigue me. Maybe Brusdar Gratterall will be intriguing. Maybe. What are the White Sox doing this year? No, they're like in the playoff hunt. We're not trying to do that. So yeah, I guess we're just not going to get a reliever. What about starters? Are there any interesting? Johnny Brito on an expiring contract with the Washington Nationals, who are not good. Now that could be interesting, folks. That could be very interesting. Logan Gilbert, he's on the Rockies. San Diego's obviously in the hunt. I don't know why they're trying to trade a guy like that. Kumar Rocker on the Blue Jays, not an expiring contract, though. Getting paid a ton, and he's wrecked. Johnny Brito might be our guy. Let's bring the band back together. What would that take? Okay, you would want like an actual dude for the rest of this season, Johnny Brito, or we could just give him somebody like it's Peyton Martin. Jonathan Meade, maybe? Some of these guys that like I would be willing to part with are guys that like it would be stupid for them to trade for. Like we could give them this 50 potential 18-year-old, but he's out currently for 9 months with a torn rotator cuff. That would be stupid for them to trade for him. Same with Kurt Tebow. He's almost 25, torn triceps. He's fragile. Maybe that's a little bit more intriguing, but I don't think that's something we're gonna like. So I think like Jonathan Meade might be what we give them. He was a 7th round pick for us this past season. Yeah, fuck it. Jonathan Meade going to the Washington Nationals, and we are going to reacquire Johnny Brito for the rest of this season. Get that captain personality class in the locker room. Give us a steady veteran starter down the stretch here. Let's do it. Bang on. Do it. Bang. Love it. Clubhouse loves it. Of course they do. And then as far as catchers on the block, the only 50 grade one is Moises Ballesteros, who is not really a catcher and is not offensively gifted enough to like overlook the fact that he's not a catcher. So not really intriguing there. If I like shop somebody, would there be an interesting catcher? Because that's the other thing, is that we have 1 more year of Agustin Ramirez. And then we have like a horrible catching situation where it's Grindlinger, who stinks. It's Brady Murrieta, who we just signed, who's all glove, no bat. Mike Blair was somebody who was an 8th round pick for us in 2027. He, like, maybe, but, like, not really a starter. He's not really a starter option. Ken Simmons is another guy that we have. He was a 20th round pick for us in 2029, somehow now up in AAA at age 26, almost 27. Looking like a decent catcher, really good personality class, power eye combo at 70 framing, but once again, not really a starting type player. As much as I love Scooby-Doo as a nickname, this guy has not really developed that well either. Dustin Asbell was a pick for us in 2029. He is an A-ball right now, doing pretty well, but, once again, another guy who doesn't really look like he's the greatest starter, has a horrible personality too. So we just don't really have any catchers coming up through the system. So, like, if we could possibly get a catcher prospect, or like a young catcher who could, like, take over for Ramirez when he slumps, or like next season, or like splits time with him for now, we would be interested in that, I feel like. Like, if we just take a look at the list of 60 framing catchers, this is just, we'll include minor leagues too. International Complex, no, because we're not interested in that. Free agents, no. So this is anybody who's currently on a major league team or currently in a minor league system who has 60 framing or above as a catcher. You can see not a lot of 50s here. The best 50, or the best guy like closest to the major leagues here at the highest potential, is John Thomas, a Giants catcher who has just been kind of like in AAA doing whatever for them. This year they called him up. He's been not great, but like okay enough. So they're dead last in the West here. And their backup catcher is Carter Jensen. So yeah, this guy's starting for them. What about AAA? They've still got this guy. So like they could absolutely just play this guy at catcher if we trade for Thomas. If we sort by potential, it's like Thomas is the fourth highest potential of catchers at 60 plus framing. There's some guys who are like super far away from the big leagues. There's this Diego Valencia guy with the White Sox who is intriguing. Maybe. The White Sox are currently like in the middle of like a playoff race though. At least I believe they are. Yeah. So I don't think... Is that guy starting for them? He is. He's their starting catcher, so we're not going to be able to trade for that guy. And then you've got that Kyle Ortega guy who's in here. This Jose Ramirez guy is really all glove. This guy is really like mostly glove too. So if we could somehow get John Thomas, that would be phenomenal. We don't have anybody who can make it work straight up. What if we give them somebody like Omar Garcia, who is looking like he could be a really good pitching prospect for us. He's in Double-A right now, pitching well. But the thing about it is we already have so many good young pitchers that it's like we have 4 guys set. So, like, Garcia would be the 5th guy. Obviously, he might move up to be, like, our 3rd or 4th guy. But and then we have Waldrop, who's going to be coming off the books. But we have a bunch of young pitchers coming up. We've got some other guys that we'd like. We got Elizalde. We've got Severin Hansen. So, like, losing Garcia wouldn't be the end of the world. Is Garcia enough to entice them? 2 thumbs down, but do they have, like... That doesn't even do anything? That doesn't be like, hey, you add this in and that's going to be fine for us? What do I have to do? Give you Jalen McCoy? Who I guess is an option for us because... He looks like he could have a really, really like generational power bat, like an 80 grade power, but he's not good enough to play in the outfield for us. Maybe Jalen McCoy is the bait. That doesn't even do anything for them. Does McCoy and Garcia? Oh, so if I give you Jalen McCoy, Omar Garcia, and Mark Antonio, then you would give me this guy. I mean, come on, dude. That is ridiculous. Okay, well that's not happening. So maybe we can get the other guy from them. Maybe we can go AAA, the guy they claimed off waivers here, Kyle Ortega, who they got off waivers from the Dodgers. Apparently this season? No, last season. Or no. So he's been DFA'd and waived by the Giants multiple times and we just haven't seen him. That is brutal. I should have been looking at this. That is brutal. Okay. Well, we missed out on that, but we now have an option to trade for him. He's durable. We like that. He's durable. He's got that 70 framing. Now he has a horrible arm. Not great blocking, but it's all framing. He's got enough power, 50 BABIP. Not the most ideal player, but he could be a guy that we go after. He could be an option. Are there any other possible options, though? Like, he's all glove. They've also got Plaz, who's mainly all glove. He has some pop. So they have him and they have Rodriguez. This guy's with the Cubs. I mean, how is it fair that Colorado has the 2 best catchers in the big leagues? They have Drew Romo, and they have Ed Gonzalez. And he's a scouting discovery. How is that fair? And the Cubs have 2 guys too. They have Bill King, who's 22, and they have Pablo Aliendo. I highly doubt they would ever be interested in giving us Bill King. Yeah, no. Once again, it's like, hey, if I give you... Not Garcia. If I give you Jalen McCoy, does that do anything for you? No. If I give you Omar Garcia, does that do anything for you? They wouldn't even do it for these guys plus Mark Antonio. So, yeah. Catchers are just that valuable maybe it would be easier to trade for one of these guys in the offseason. Caden Bodine, what's his thing? What are the A's up to? They're in first place. He's their starting catcher too, isn't he? Yeah. I mean, it's just so... I think we're going to wait till the offseason to look at a catcher trade. But yeah. It is bleak with how much we'd have to give up for a catcher. So we're going to hang on to some of those bigger prospects here and see if we can swing one in the offseason. And I think for now, we might just rock and roll with what we have at the catcher position. Folks, we are cooking here post-trade deadline. We are currently on a W8 here. We swept the Cubs, swept the Mariners, and now we are at Colorado, potentially sweeping the Rockies, which is always big for us. Logan Gilbert on the bump for them. We have Pedro Patino on the bump. I mean, this has got to be a sweep. There it is, 13-0, 13-0, as they say. 7 2/3 for Patino, 3 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 12 Ks, and we just completely shove the Rockies' face in the dirt as we go to at Minnesota, then at Washington. Can we keep it going? Let's just see. Oh, we don't. 6-1 to Minnesota. It was Hurston Waldrop. Wasn't his fault. He goes 6 scoreless, and then Garreau got lit up. That is not happening very often here. Garreau, who has been phenomenal for us this season, gives up 4 runs and only gets 1 out. That is brutal. Folks, what do you do when you go on a W9 after back-to-back or 3 straight series sweeps and then you lose the first game of the next series? Well, you simply just go on a W8 and then look at another sweep here. Versus Atlanta here. Can we get it done? Let's see. We cannot, of course, because I looked at it. 3-1 loss as Patino gives up 3 runs, strikes out 12, 4 walks, 6 innings. Garreau goes 3 scoreless, and the offense just can't get it done, unfortunately. Folks, what do you do when you have a W8 and then you lose your next one, and then you rip off a W9, then you lose your next one, you rip off a W8, and then you lose your next one? Well, you just follow it up with a W12. We sweep Washington, we sweep Baltimore, both on the road down there in the DMV, and then we head to at home against Toronto, sweep them, sweep the Mets, and now we're taking on at Pittsburgh and at New York. And folks, not only do we not sweep the Pittsburgh Pirates, we drop the first game, but Alex Garcia here, diagnosed with a torn back muscle mid-September, he was really starting to come on for us here as our left fielder. You could see in 254 plate appearances, WAR up to a 1.7, 134 WRC plus, a 363 WOBA, 23 doubles. The power wasn't quite there. The home run stroke wasn't quite there, but everything else was coming into place for Alex Garcia here. He was playing, I guess, not really a great left field, but I trust that he will at some point figure out left field. And so far, looking great, but unfortunately, gonna miss the playoffs. Alrighty, folks, we are here at the end of the 2033 campaign, and as you can see, we are sitting at 107 and 55 on the season, which is our highest win total and also the highest win total in Marlins history. We have ripped off 3 straight 100-win seasons, improving in wins each of the seasons, going from 101 to 102 to 107. Can we finally break through and win a World Series? We have not done so since 2027. We've been close a couple times. 2 World Series losses to the Rangers, and then last year to the Red Sox. The Red Sox, they had like a couple walk-offs against us. Is this the year? Hopefully. But first things first, time to go over how our team did. As far as the expanded standings go, we have a plus 289 run differential. Imagine having a plus 145 and being 15 games out of first place. That's how good this Marlins team is. Plus 289 run differential, which is the best in Major League Baseball. The second best would be the St. Louis Cardinals, who had 104 wins atop the NL Central Division. They were tough to play in the playoffs last year. I would imagine that we're probably set to be facing them again. The Rockies not making the playoffs, so another year we will not have to face the Rockies in the postseason. I'm curious, how did Ivar Arquette do this year? Another poor offensive season for Ivar Arquette. I'm sure it wouldn't have mattered at all if they did make the playoffs. But taking a look at how our team did with the stat rankings here, obviously very, very good. Top 5 in basically everything, top 3 in most stuff, the second best batting average, the best slugging, the second best OPS, the highest WAR, the second WOBA, the most runs scored in the National League, the second most amount of hits, the most extra base hits, the fourth most home runs, fifth most walks, third least amount of strikeouts, first in stolen bases, second in base running, and then on the defensive side of things, the best total ERA, second starters, best bullpen, least amount of runs allowed combined with the most runs scored. That's how you get the best run differential in baseball, folks. Second WAR, first in hits allowed, opponents to average 212, opponents average 265 BABIP, 159 home runs allowed, which is the least. And then once again, walking a bunch of guys, but that's just what's going to happen with Patino and Hernandez in your staff. But then the most strikeouts with 1,500 as a staff. And then the second best defensive efficiency, and still sixth in zone rating. Not the best, but also not bad either, with a plus 13 ZR as a team. So let's take a look at this pitching staff here. Sorting by innings pitched, Pedro Patino with a 203 and a third innings pitched this season, a 6 WAR, 216 ERA plus, 68 FIP minus, a sub 2 ERA, a sub 3 FIP, 37.6 K percentage, and 11.6 walk rate, is 26 on the K minus walk, a .7 home runs per 9, throwing over 100 pitches per game. He's the best pitcher on the planet right now, folks. Pedro goddamn Patino, the scouting discovery. I mean, just incredible. I'm just saying it right now. This doesn't really matter for anybody except for Burns. Maybe I do videos on this at some point, but whenever the next FIFA game drops and I get it on sale at some point, Pedro Patino will 100% be a player that I'm using in pro clubs. Just like Luis Carmona was last year. And then the rest of the staff ain't no slouch either. Hurston Waldrop ends up rebounding from his slow start and doing what he does. Another 3 WAR season, much better ERA plus and FIP minus than ERA and FIP than league average. Just another 3 WAR season. He has just been an absolute stud for us. And then we have one more year of him at $18.5 million next year. So Hurston Waldrop, very excited to see what he can keep doing for us. Ramon Hernandez puts up a 2 WAR for us. Not the greatest FIP, though. That is definitely discouraging. His strikeout rate dropped this year. His walk rate went up. That is quite concerning, but overall still a good enough pitcher. Hopefully he can figure it out. And then Johnny Brito. He was not really that great with Washington. Got really unlucky with ERA. Comes here, plays behind our defense. Boom. He's right back to Johnny Brito of old. A 173 ERA plus, a 76 FIP minus, a 1.2 WAR through 10 starts, and we've got ourselves 5 really, really good starting pitchers heading into the postseason. And even a guy like Rico Vergen, where's Rico? Oh, he got hurt, that's right. Rico Vergen did get hurt. He's currently has 4 days left of his injury, but he was really, really good in 7 appearances and 3 starts. You could see here just through the roof. ERA plus 5.07, a sub 1 ERA. You look at his splits between the rotation and the bullpen. Really, really good in both roles. So Rico Vergen might be the 5th starter next year when we don't have Johnny Brito anymore. And then as far as the rest of the guys go, Jose Hernandez put together a 2 WAR season. He was solid for us. Luke Garreau was really, really good, 2.8 WAR. He was our best reliever this season as a stopper. Mike Carrier ended up being like around league average. He's whatever this year. Definitely not going to be winning the Rolaids Relief Award or whatever the hell it's called anymore in real life. Grijalva was good. He did have an injury stint where he was out for 4 to 5 weeks with an oblique strain. But overall, very solid season for him as a stopper this season. Peyton Martin was like whatever, same as Carrier. TJ Griffin had a weird year where he was like whatever as well. Mike Bird had a good ERA and a bad FIP, or like an average FIP. Chris Ramirez was really good in a really, really low leverage role though. And then Elizalde came up and in 9 appearances got 22 innings and was really good in that bulk role. And then Gustavo Rico continued to not do well for the big league team here, or really the AAA team. We're hoping that he can, figure things out because he looks like he could be really good. But he's not going to be a part of the postseason roster this year, I can tell you that much. And then on the hitting side of things, we already talked about Alex Garcia, who is going to miss the postseason here, which is a bummer because he was really starting to turn things on. Looked like he's a really, really good player for us, but we will be missing him in the postseason here as ignore what this lineup looks like. We're not really sure what's going to look like heading into the postseason, but overall, really, really good team this season. Dylan Head, a 5.8 WAR, 118 WRC plus, 26 doubles, and he swiped 64 bags at a 90% success rate. 360 OBP, our leadoff man. Once again, back in that leadoff spot, doing that like old school thing where he swipes bags, he gets on, he hits a single, he gets on, swipes second base, and then also hits you a decent amount of doubles. So he's just already in scoring position with his speed. I'd imagine he probably even steals third a decent amount. Just a really, really cool player and puts together a 10 ZR in center field. So he has the highest win acquirer on our team. Mark Antonio, a 5.5 WAR for him as a DH. Do you people have any idea how hard that is to do? A 5.5 WAR as a DH, 163 WRC plus in basically a full season, 628 plate appearances, a 404 WOBA, 43 doubles, 31 home runs, 100 plus ribbies, 100 plus runs, walks a ton, doesn't strike out, 15 swipe bags at not a great rate. Mark Antonio, folks, he is really, really, really good, and he's just so good. He's just so incredibly good. What else can you say? A 5 WAR season from Jorge Garza as well. 133 WRC plus, 31 doubles, 23 home runs, 100 ribbies from him, 96 runs scored. He doesn't strike out either. Just add that to the list of guys on our team who don't strike out. 32 swipe bags for him. Plays a really good left field and even a good center field. Wasn't good in right field for some reason when he played some there, even though he doesn't have a 70 rating at that position. And Shedry Vargas, 4 WAR season for him, 132 WRC plus, the second most amount of doubles on the team, 19 home runs, had 117 runs, which was the most on the team. Also doesn't strike out, swiped a bunch of bags. He's just really, really good. Brooks Lee, unfortunately not the greatest offensive season from him. If we look at the splits, just up and down. He did start to turn things on towards the end here in August and September, which is good to see heading into the playoffs. But overall, definitely a down season offensively, but still a very solid shortstop with the glove, so that is why he ends up with a 3 WAR season. And then there's Wilfredo Lara, who ended up putting together a decent year, 2.9 WAR, triple-digit WRC plus, 27 doubles, 22 home runs, 31 swiped bags for him. Agustin Ramirez doing what he does, just puts together like a 2.5 WAR season with a sub-100 WRC plus, or like around league average WRC plus. He is what he is at this point. Amishai slumped down the stretch in September, but overall was very, very good in his strong side platoon role. Mikov was good mostly in his... Yeah, he's really good against lefties, not so much against righties. We just know what he is at this point. Then there's Camilo Diaz, who is like whatever as a bench player. Butch Brown was a guy we called up from AA. He was a pick out of the University of Delaware we had, round 4 in 2030. And he put together a bunch of really good seasons in the minor leagues, and we just called him up, and he's actually been quite good. He's an interesting bat, can really, really hit some home runs against lefties, can play you some decent infield as well. He's been up doing pretty well as a bench player in obviously very, very small sample size. Brady Murrieta is now our backup catcher. He did not do anything offensively as you would expect. Dario Bird was like solid as our backup lefty bat off the bench, triple-digit WRC plus, 11 doubles, 18 home runs as a bench player. And then we also called up Chris King as a backup down the stretch as well, because he also has a really interesting bat against lefties, and it's decent enough against righties, and can play you all over the infield as well as some left field potentially as well. So then taking a look at the around the league stats here, you can see that Mark Antonio was top 4 in batting average. The batting average leader was Mario Rojas of the Houston Astros. A 343 batting average wins the batting title in the American League. While on the National League side of things, it was Alex Alzina from the San Francisco Giants, who were a stinky poo-poo team this year, but they do get the batting title winner in this guy. And then home run leader was Rashad Shunnaw. Incredible name, from Broken Arrow High School in Oklahoma. Huge power eye guy, 45 home runs as a 24-year-old here with the Phillies. But not a division winner because they are in our division. Sucks to suck. And then you have top 5 in slugging, Mark Antonio. Top 4 in OPS, Mark Antonio. Highest WAR was once again Juan Cuadros. He's hurt, hopefully for the entire playoffs. That'd be fantastic. Another 200 WRC plus for this guy. Incredible player. Probably going to win MVP again. Third most runs scored in Major League Baseball this season was Shedry Vargas with 117. The most triples was Jorge Garza. That's fantastic to see. The most stolen bases was Dylan Head, beating out Ellie De La Cruz, the 31-year-old with the Astros. And then you also have total bases, Mark Antonio. The sack flies, Jorge Garza. That's interesting. Top 4 OPS plus, Mark Antonio. Win probability added was top 5 Mark Antonio as well as Woba. And then taking a look at the pitching side of things, the best ERA in Major League Baseball by multiple points, by a lot, Pedro Patino. He's got to win the MVP. Or not MVP, but maybe he wins MVP, but he's got to win Cy Young. He has to. He just has to, damn it. The second most wins, 17 on the season. Not that I care about wins. The third highest pitcher WAR, behind Pagan and Romero of the Reds and Phillies, respectively. Reds are all over this thing. I'm seeing a lot of Reds, Cardinals. Yeah, just red all over this thing. Base on balls leader, Ramon Hernandez, Pedro Patino. It's whatever, like I said. They're going to walk guys. They're still effective even with that. Strikeouts per 9, Patino. He's second behind Pagan. Whip, Patino is third. FIP, he's third. ERA plus, the best in the bigs. He's got the highest R-WAR. He's got the lowest BABIP. He's got the lowest opponent's average. Ramon Hernandez has the 5th lowest opponent's average. The 5th highest win percentage is Hernandez. And then the most quality starts, Pedro Patino. None of our guys in shutdowns or holds this year because we had like a mid-season shift to who was our stoppers. But if Grijalva and Garreau were there for the full season, they definitely would have been in the mix for these statistics here. While on the fielding side of things, total chances was Agustin Ramirez. Sure, most putouts, yeah, whatever. Range, Ramirez. Caught stealing, second highest percentage there, Agustin Ramirez, and also the highest catcher's ERA, despite not very good framing ratings. And then the Colorado Rockies continue to just be overlords of the catching game with Drew Romo and Ed Gonzalez as their catchers. And then this Lovelace guy, Jason Lovelace. 11th round pick for the Angels here. Really good framer, not a good offensive player. Cool, good to see. I just see Jade Lovelace, and I'm instantly thinking of, this is how fucked my brain is, I just instantly think of Mike Teal's backup at Rutgers in the mid-2000s, Jabu Lovelace, who, if I'm not mistaken, also wore 15. That guy did not get into many games, but he did get into one of the games I went to because they blew out Howard, one of the games I went to. And folks, there you have the 2033 postseason tree. The Marlins and the Cardinals are both your buys in the National League, awaiting one of the Padres, Phillies, Braves, and Dodgers, while in the American League it is the Twins and the Red Sox with buys, awaiting the Guardians, White Sox, Astros, or Athletics.